Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to study about the introduction to environmental education, their challenges, and how we can overcome those challenges. We are trying to understand what are the environmental issues that we are going to face today. So first of all, we have to understand the meaning of environment. Now, environment is basically the surrounding what we are seeing around us. That is, environment is the aggregate of influences of the social, economical, biological, and physical factors which determine the existence, growth, and welfare of an organism or group of organisms. So we are here to understand that the whatever thing which is surrounding us is our environment in a very simple terms. So environment means surrounding and everything that affects the organisms during the life, whether it's weather, whether it's plants, whether it's flora, fauna, all these things that affect the living organisms compose the part of the environment. It includes both the physical as well as the biological surroundings. So basically, environment are of two types. First is natural environment, and next is anthropogenic environment. First of all, we are going to study about what is natural environment. Natural environment means it is not a man-made environment which exists naturally in the environment. For example, the air we breathe, it is not composed by the human beings. Air, water, soil, land, forest, wildlife, flora and fauna, all these things are being in environment by nature. It is not a human-made activity, right? Moreover, it is dynamic in nature. Why it is dynamic in nature? Because it keeps on changing. For example, when you imagine the past, there were dinosaurs existence in the environment, but they are not present now. There were so many species, marine and species were there that are not existing now. Why? They are getting extinct or at the verge of extinction. So the environment never remains same. It keeps on changing depending on different factors. Then self-regulatory mechanism through counterbalance subdivision like lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, all these divisions also compose the natural environment. So we can say that natural environment is not a man-made environment. It is composed of the air, water, soil, land, forest, wildlife, flora and fauna. It is dynamic by nature and it is counterbalanced by the various layers present in the earth like lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere. Next is anthropogenic environment. Now, what is this anthropogenic environment? This environment is modified extremely through modern technology by the humans. That is, we are changing the environment. That is, human beings are making the environment or they are affecting the environment. So all your industrial, commercial or agricultural housing purposes are creating an environment that are man-made. For example, the ill-con destruction, some displacement of plant and animal species are being there, development of means of transport, improper flowing and modern grazing methods are there, that is excess of, you are taking urea, right? And irrational fishing and hunting, that is you are pouring out fishing, you are doing man-made ponds are made and there where fishing culture is being made. Then transgenic animals, that is you are making the new species of animals by cloning of the other species. So this type of environment is being created by man. It is not a natural environment that occurs naturally in the earth, on the earth. But it is an environment that is created through modern technology by the human beings. Next is segments of environment. Now, we have heard what is environment, what are the types of environment. Now we are going to study about the segments of environment. As you can see, this diagram mentioned over here, we have different layers: atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. Atmosphere is what is surrounding our earth, right? Hydrosphere is the surface of earth is filled with water. That is hydrosphere. Lithosphere is the outer shell of the earth composed of the crust and the rigid outermost mantle. That is, you can say the outer covering of the earth atmosphere is lithosphere. And the biosphere is the place where the life exists. That is called biosphere. So you can understand that there are four segments of environment. What are those four segments? First is your atmosphere. Atmosphere is the virtual ocean of air. That is the air that is surrounding the earth is your atmosphere. Then is your hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is the surface of the earth filled in any form of water, whether it's seas, oceans, rivers, or these all are included in hydrosphere. And in lithosphere, again, the outer shell of the earth is composed of the crust and rigid outermost mantle. That is called the lithosphere. And most importantly, we have biosphere. Biosphere is the place on earth where life exists. And this life will only exist when the above three layers are in healthy condition. Now, if we talk about the layers of atmosphere, the outer atmosphere, you can see that first of all, first layer is your troposphere, where you can see the aeroplanes are moving. The aeroplane flies in the troposphere, which is 12 kilometers above the surface of the earth. When we move 15 kilometers away from the surface of the earth, there is a layer called stratosphere, right? Stratosphere, where the human beings, you can see parachute flying can be there, the comets are there. Then 85 kilometers above is mesosphere, where comets come. And then 369 kilometers, there is a thermosphere, then exosphere, where satellites are there. So these are the basically outer layers of atmosphere. As we move higher in the layers of atmosphere, the gravitational pull is decreasing, right? So, and most environmental conditions are not available in the as we go in the higher layers of atmosphere. Now, what are the functions of atmosphere? Firstly, oxygen for breathing and carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. This is the major function. If you don't have oxygen, the living organism will not be able to survive. And along with oxygen, we need carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis process so that plants can make their own food. Then it is a radiation shield. Why it is radiation shield? Because the harmful ultraviolet rays that comes from the sun will directly affect the earth. if this layer is not present. So this layer basically protects the earth from ultraviolet rays which could cause cancer. Then maintenance of heat balance of earth. As you know, why today the summers are getting too hot? The reason behind is it that we are cutting down the trees. As a result, the trees were absorbing the heat of the sun, but as the number is decreasing, there is no plants to absorb the heat of the sun. So to maintain the heat balance of the earth, atmosphere plays a vital role. It is a security blanket. Again, why it is a security blanket? Because it covers the shell of the earth. Otherwise, harmful rays will come, people will become sick, plants will not survive, flora, fauna will destroy. That is why it is a security blanket. Then different cycles present in the atmosphere as well as creation of weather. It is very true that your weather depends totally upon the rays we are getting from the sun. The more the earth will heat up, it will destroy the flora and fauna and different cycles in the atmosphere. That is, winter will be of smaller duration and summer will be of longer duration. There will be less rainfall. So to maintain the balance of all the cycles or all type of weather, this layers plays vital role. Then protect us from space junks, that is meteoroids. As we know that meteoroids travel at a very fast speed, if there is no atmosphere surrounding the earth, then what will happen? They will straight away hit the earth, which will ultimately affect the environment or the species present over there. But the layer bounce them back. That is why we are able to protect our earth from meteorites. Then pollination and dispersion. If the air is flowing, there will be pollination and dispersion of seeds. So we have to protect all these things so that better functioning of our environment could take place. So first of all, we are going to talk about now hydrosphere. Now, what is this hydrosphere? As you know, all the water bodies which are present on the earth comprises of hydrosphere. Like blue planet, earth is called, blue planet. Why? Because 80% water is there. That is 97% is ocean water and seas, and 2.4% is trapped as giant glaciers and polar ice. Because glacier will melt down, ultimately they will be also converted into water. And all the water present of the earth, either surface water or groundwater, constitutes the hydrosphere. Right? Surface and groundwater both comprises of hydrosphere. And the ocean, seas, rivers, streams, lakes, reservoirs, glaciers, polar ice caps, groundwater, waterlogs in rocks, cervix, and mineral laying deep below the earth crust, they all are part of hydrosphere. Since hydro is a universal solvent, it is essential for all the living organism on the earth, whether it is human beings or whether it is animals. That is aquatic, marine. Everybody needs, all living organisms need water for their survival. And the surface water contains a lot of organic matter and mineral nutrients which feed large bacteria population and health. Right? Now, talking about lithosphere. Lithosphere is the solid, rocky outer part of the earth. As you can see in the diagram, if we go inside the crust of the earth, we have inner core, right? Then we have outer core, then we have mantle, and mantle, after mantle we have crust. So these are the basic part, that is core part. There are two core parts, that is inner core and outer core. Then comes the mantle, then comes the core, crust, right? So it serves, now lithosphere serves as the source of minerals. How it serves as a source of minerals? Because all the sources of mineral are available on the crust of the earth. For example, coal, petroleum, natural gas are the major sources of fuel that are required for the progression process. And soil is the weathering of rocks together with the air, water, and forms the basis of terrestrial life. And on this layer only, the growth of plants and animal is possible. Plant will get water on the surface. The water will be, the soil will get water from the rain. Ultimately, plants will grow, and that plants are eaten by the animals. So ultimately, it is a source for all the living organisms. And lithosphere provides a conducive lid to stop connecting the. This is a very important layer where you find all the minerals, where all the plants and animal flourish. So why so? Because of the parts of the earth. Ultimately, when you get all these things on the earth surface, it comprises of the lithosphere. Talking about the biosphere, now this is the very important thing. Why so? Because here all organisms live. Lithosphere provides the source for the living organism, and biosphere is the portion of the earth where all organisms live. They cannot live in the atmosphere, they cannot go inside the earth, but the place where all the organism lives is called biosphere. Biosphere is a biological envelope that surrounds the globe, containing and able to support the life. It is a basically envelope for living organisms. So then only life supporting system is possible, right? Then it penetrates into and deep dependent on the atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. That is the life on the earth, that is on biosphere. Life is only possible because of the combination of three things, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. This donates the relating of living organism and their interaction with the environment. And if any of the three layers get disturbed, if the atmosphere get disturbed, then also it is going to affect the living organism. If the hydrosphere is disturbed, then also there are no water bodies. It is difficult to survive without water. And if the source of minerals are also not there, then also life becomes very tough to survive. So the biosphere is relatively thinner and incomplete environment covering in most of the world. That is, this biosphere will only be able to exist if the three layers, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, functions properly. Now, if we talk about the classification of the environment, now environment is classified into 4 categories. First is your physical environment. Second is your biological environment. Third is your chemical environment. And fourth is your cultural environment. Talking about the physical environment, the physical environment comprises of your atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. And Talking about the biological environment comprises of flora, that is plants and fauna, and then that is microorganisms. Chemical environment comprises of all the mineral resources that are present on the earth. And the cultural environment composes of the society and economic and political. That is, your society is also part of environment. Your economic conditions are also part of environment. No doubt they are the external environment that ultimately affect the human beings living on the earth. Your politics. All these things are the environment. No doubt they are not related to the nature, but they are indirectly or directly affecting the human beings or survival of the organism on the earth. Now, if we're talking about the further classification of the environment, biological environment includes all life on the earth. It covers all living organisms on the earth, like whether it's bacteria, viruses, algae, herbs, right? All these are the part of biological environment. That is, all your microorganisms are part of your biological environment. And biological environment also describes the influence of the factors like such as your warmth, moisture, humidity on plants and animals. All these are the factors that are also described by the biological environment. The population of vertebrae and invertebrate and the competition for food and space is all. That is the hunting of fishes, hunting of one animal for food to another animal. Okay? Then there are so many infectious disease, that is the microbes or microorganisms that are present in the environment are also part of the biological environment. Then further classification of environment, as I've told you. Then components of the environment. This is a very important thing. First, we have studied what is environment, what are the types of environment, what are the layers of environment, what is the classification of environment. Then we are going to study about the components of the environment. Basically, there are two components of the environment. First is your biotic components and second is your abiotic components. Now, what is biotic component? All the living components of environment. I'm repeating. All the living components of the environment such as microbes, plants, animals and human beings compose of biotic components. Like producers, autotrophics, plants and green algae, they convert energy from the sun also into food. Right? We call autotrophs as producers also. Because plants need energy from the sun. They convert that energy in form of food. Then consumers. Consumers are heterotrophs. For example, animal. The plant produce food and that food is eaten by the animals or human beings. They totally depend upon autotrophics. That is, heterotrophics are dependent upon autotrophics. That is, consumer is dependent upon producer. So animal, fungi, as well as most bacteria depend upon autotrophic for both energy and raw material to make complex organic molecules. So further, the consumers are further classified into three categories. That is herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. Herbivorous, you know, that feed on plants. Carnivorous mean that feed on flesh. And omnivorous mean organisms that eat food of both plants and animals. Then decomposers. Decomposers, who are decomposers? An organism, especially soil bacterium, fungus, invertebrate that decompose organic material depend on their food habits. Right? So an organism, especially solid bacteria, fungus, that depend on the food. Like bread. When we bread, the yeast is there. This yeast help in the decomposition of the components present. So you can see here the cows are dependent upon grass. The fly is dependent upon the leaf. Leaf eater fly is there. Then, various carnivorous animals are there that eat the flesh of the other animals. This is the bacteria or algae that decompose the food, right? So you can see there are herbivorous animals, carnivorous animals, omnivorous animals are there. So these all compose the biotic components. Your plants, your living organisms, they all are part of the biotic components. Now we talk about the abiotic components. It is very clear. Abiotic components are those components which are naturally occurring in the environment, like wind, sun, water. Now, environmental science and how the natural world works. If we talk about the environmental science, the first terminology that comes is ecology. Now, what is this ecology? It is a study of organism and the environment interacting with one another. Right? The interaction between the organism and its environment is called ecology. And environmental science is an interdisciplinary academic field that integrates various branches of science to study the environment and address the solution of the environmental problem. Then environmental studies. Study of social science to understand the human interaction with the environment. Environmental engineering. Again, analyzing and detecting problems with the environment and effect of human-made pilgrims on the environment and finding solution to preserve the environment. So the diagram you can see that our environmental science composed of different things, your ethics, your ecology, biology, chemistry, atmospheric science, oceanography, geology, sociology, political science, engineering. So all these are the components of anthropological and archaeological. Right? Now, objectives of public awareness. Now, today, the major issue is that we have to create awareness in public regarding the environment because we have to work for the sustainability. If we will not protect the naturally occurring substances or the mineral present in the air or in the environment, ultimately the future generation will be in danger. Because if we'll consume everything and will not leave anything for the future generation, then their survival will be very tough. So, first of all, we have to create awareness in public regarding the environment. Firstly, you have to identify various plants, animals, and other components of environment that are endangered. As I have gave you an example earlier, the dinosaurs are not extinct. They are not present on the earth now. Right? Then rhinoceros are endangered species, tigers are endangered species. If we'll not protect them, the generations to come will not be able to see these animals anymore. And every organism that is present on the earth has its importance. Right? Then take appropriate decision regarding the use of natural resources. If we will not take timely or corrective measure to protect our environment, our natural resources will be vanished. For example, if we will not conserve water, then ultimately what will happen? There will be no rivers there will be no water to drink. It will not consume our natural resources properly. For example, coal. There is shortage of coal in India. Coal mines, the production of coal has been reduced. Why? Because the overconsumption of coal has been done. So we have to protect our natural resources for the future generation for their sustainability. And then to conserve depleting nature of resources for betterment of society. Then to adopt appropriate ways and means to solve the existing environmental problems. If we'll not take the corrective measure at a time on a timely basis, we will lose our natural resources. We will not be left with anything, and our species will be endangered and will be at the verge of extinction. So that is why we have to create public awareness so that we can protect our environment. Now, importance of environmental studies. Environmental issues of international importance. Firstly, why do we study environmental education? To focus on the environmental issues of national importance. For example, firstly, the global warming is a major concern today. The glaciers are melting. As a result, the level of the seawater is rising. And ultimately, what will happen? The area that is near to ocean, their land will submerge into the water. Secondly, ozone depletion. If the ozone layer is not protected properly, the harmful ultraviolet rays will come directly to our earth, which will directly affect our skin, and we will be prone to different kinds of diseases like cancer. Then acid rain. When the sulfur content of sulfur dioxide increases in the air, ultimately it will create, when it will come in touch with the water droplets, it will become or turn into acid rain. Then marine pollution. Now all the waste of the ships is dumped into the ocean. As a result, the marine life is not able to survive in ocean. We are polluting our ocean, and result thousands of fishes or lakhs of fishes are being destroyed, or they are at the verge of death and at the verge of extinction also due to this marine pollution. And fifth is your biodiversity. We have to protect our environment, our biodiversity, that is flora and fauna. Otherwise, Earth will be same as it was 10,000 years. Now, we are going to study about the various environmental issues that are affecting our environment. Before starting with the environmental issue, I would like to give you one brainstorming activity, right? So without talking, write down individually what all environmental issues you think are uprooting in today's scenario. So just these, what I have mentioned are the brief description of the issues that are being faced by us. Now you people identify what are the different environmental issues that are arising in today's scenario. Now, the first environmental problem is pollution. Number of projects has been set up, but crores of rupees has been installed or given by the central government to protect the river. But nothing has been done, or nothing has been turned fruitful to protect our rivers and environment. Still, the dirty water from the factory or the toxic water from the factories are dumped into rivers, which are ultimately polluting the rivers, and ultimately affecting the marine life present in these rivers. Smoke from the chimneys of the factory is ultimately destroying the environment. So we have to control the pollution so that we can give a sustainable future for our younger generation. Then, if we talk about pollution, what is it? Now, what is pollution? It is the harmful substances that are discharged into the air, soil, or water. For example, garbage is being sent. Chemicals are dumped into the rivers. Radioactive waste, noise, thermal light, sewerages, pesticide, fertilizer. All these are the part of pollution. We use harmful fertilizers for plants that are responsible for making land infertile. Now, why do we care? Why should we care? Reason behind is pollution will destroy the environment. That is, it will kill the species, it will spread the diseases, will cause cancer, it will reduce the reproductive and respiratory organs, and it will lead to problems in humans and animals. Then it will ultimately really lead to the global warming issue. Because when the air is polluted, there is no fresh air, more harmful gases are being ejacuated in the air, will ultimately destroy the environment and the atmosphere, will ultimately cause the global warming. Now, how we can overcome this problem? I have some solutions. Firstly, properly dispose of polluting substance. Whatever harmful chemicals are being released, that should be disposed of properly. Then only the problem of pollution could be reduced. As you can see now, the trend of EV scooters or EV cars are in recent scenario. Why this came? So that the harmful substances or harmful gases that are thrown from the vehicles are also polluting the environment. So we have to take measures to reduce this environment. So as of we talk about the electricity also, solar panels are being installed so that solar radiations are used to produce electricity, because again, the thermal power plants don't have coal to generate electricity. Then hydro power plants face the problem of water. So as the population is also increasing, the pollution is also increasing. So we have to find solution in another way so that we can live a sustainable life for us also and for the future generation also. Then secondly, we have to monitor the emission levels to be within the acceptable limits. That is, whatever things are being emitted into the environment should be within the acceptable limits. If it goes beyond the acceptable limits, then we have to straightaway take action to punish the culprits. And thirdly, we have to follow the 3 R's, that is recycle, reuse, and reuse. Then, second environmental problem is ozone depletion. You can see in this diagram, you can see October 70, October 71, you can see the ultraviolet rays has been depleting slowly and slowly. It was of orangish color. See on 79 it is where, and we come to October 92, it is getting lighter. October 90 lighter, 94 lighter, and 96 more lighter. In this way, our ozone layer is getting depleted. And if this depletion is not stopped, the human being will suffer ample number of diseases. Not only human beings, even the plants and animals will also suffer in the same way. See, we know that our atmosphere comprises of 78% of nitrogen gas, 21% of oxygen gas, and 1% of other gases. Right? You can see here the ozone layer exists between mesosphere and stratosphere. And this ozone layer absorbs 97 to 99% of ultraviolet rays from the sun. So if this layer is being depleted, the absorption rate will decrease, which results in the rays of the sun will directly affect the earth surface. Now, what is this ozone? Ozone is a 3-atom molecule of oxygen. You see, ozone is a 3-atom molecule of oxygen. And this is completely different compound than the oxygen we breathe. Oxygen compound is O2. When 3 oxygen molecules are merged, it forms ozone, which is not breathable. And ozone is actually a toxic gas when given off at a ground level. So you can understand why ozone layer is very important to us, because it is actually a very toxic gas. Then, second is chlorofluorocarbon, that is CFCs. Now, what is this chlorofluorocarbon? Chemical once used in aerosol cans, plastic refrigerators that are mostly banned. This CFC breaks the ozone layer. That is the reason behind the depletion of ozone layer is the CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons, because they ultimately break up the ozone layer. You can see in this diagram, the ultraviolet strikes CFC molecules, causing CI to break away. And CI strikes ozone, leaving chlorine monoxide and oxygen molecule, which results in loss of ozone. After the chlorine atom removed from oxygen molecule from O3, it is able to separate from the lone oxygen atom and combine with the other O3 molecules. So the process continues over and over again and again. So one of the reasons for the depletion of ozone layer is the chlorofluorocarbon. Now, how this chlorofluorocarbon chemical breakdown of ozone take place? After breaking down the ozone molecule, the chlorine atom frees itself from the oxygen and atom restarts the reaction. Now, if this ozone layer gets depleted completely, what will happen? Without ozone layer, large amount of ultraviolet rays can reach the earth and potentially causes cancer in human and causes cataract, that is damage of eyesight, and affect the crop growth. So that is why there is importance of ozone layer. Otherwise, we will be in hands of different diseases, and it would be difficult to overcome from those diseases. Ultraviolet rays induces skin cancer by causing mutation in DNA. The United Nations Environmental Program estimates that a sustained 1% depletion of ozone will ultimately lead to 2-3% increase in the incidence of non-melanoma skin cancer. Now, other effects of ozone depletion is that the ultraviolet radiation also impairs the process of photosynthesis in plant, right? For the process of photosynthesis to occur, there should be no ultraviolet radiation in the atmosphere. Then marine organism living in the shallow water experience damaging levels of ultraviolet radiation. That is, a healthy green sea urchin embryo appears above left, and UV irradiated green sea urchin embryo display an abnormal extruded gut. So you can see the harmful ultraviolet rays that are being emitted from the sun will not only affect the human beings, it will affect the plants and marine organism also. And overexposure of ultraviolet radiation can change the flowering time of some kinds of plant, and therefore they affect the animal that depend upon. So ultraviolet rays will ultimately, what will happen? They will change the flowering time or the reproduction time of the flowers. And the animals, those are dependent on these plants, will also be get affected. Then ozone depletion. A good news is that what measure we have taken, that CFC has been banned, so that they can no longer damage our ozone layer. The Montreal Protocol treaty includes over 200 countries that has banned the use of CFC. So there's a protocol that has been formulated in Montreal that in which over 200 countries agree that they will not be using CFC anymore because it will ultimately affect the ozone layer. Since the Montreal Protocol, ozone layer is completely back to normal. So CFC was a major component that was damaging our ozone layer. And the ozone layer is predicted to make a recovery to what it was in 1980 by 250. That is, by 2050, we would be able to recover our damaged ozone layer because of the banning of CFCs. Now, the next environmental problem is deforestation or habitat loss. This is the major problem that is being faced today. Now, what is this? Natural environment destroyed due to agriculture, excessive logging, fires, forest fires, industrial and residential deployment. This is actually called deforestation. That is forest fire. You can see in Uttarakhand, so many jungles are being burned. And then forests are being depleted to set up the residential development or industrial development. Now, why do we care? If this deforestation will not be stopped, then there will be loss of biodiversity. Greatest cause of extinction. Tree act as filter for excess carbon dioxide in air. Less trees, more oxygen. And not sustainable in long term. New medicine food will all be affected if the biodiversity gets affected. And what is the solution? We have to conserve the natural area. There should be no industrial residential development. More plants should be grown, and land should be designated for national and state parks. Then there should be sustainable agriculture that should not affect the fertility of the soil. So in this way, we can protect our environment. We can overcome the problem of deforestation. Now, you can see in the picture here, one picture I have shown is of 1985, another is of 1992. You can see in 85, there was so much of green patch available. And now you see in 1992 that green patch is getting vanished. That is how much of residential and industrial development has took place, which is ultimately the main factor leading to global warming and deforestation. These NASA photographs shows the destruction of Amazon-driven forest. This is a picture of Amazon rainforest. Provide a visual indication of the rate of deforestation that has taken place in Brazil. How much of forest has been destroyed. In many areas, the amount of clear-cut area now exceeds the area of remaining rainforest timber stands. The solid dark green area shows the remaining tropical rainforest canopy. Scientists predict that the half of the Amazon rainforest will be gone by 2030. Why? Because lot of residential and industrial development as it has been taken place, will ultimately destroy the Amazon rainforest. Now you can see here also, this is a Google map picture. You can see the lighter areas. The darker area shows that how much greenery was there, and the lighter area show how much of deforestation has taken place. You can see through this picture. A solution that you can take in part, that is, we have to educate people, we have to work on the UN sustainability goals to protect our environment and help the environment to be a safe place for all the. Now, next environmental problem is acid rain. Now, I told you earlier also what is acidic gases. Basically, the sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide is released into the atmosphere through factory waste or factory chimneys. Then these gases are carried away by the winds. They dissolve with rainwater to form acid rain. As a result, when this acid rain turns back on the earth, it destroys the natural vegetation and the environment or the trees that are being surrounded. You can see in the picture the effect of acid rain. The trees are being destroyed because it is highly acidic nature. Then you can see the graveyards. In a graveyard, the grave of the people, the stone has been destroyed just because of the acid rain. Now, what is it? Again, I told you that it is a precipitation becomes acidic due to air pollution. When the sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide mixes with the air, it causes acid rain. Burning of fossil fuels, then sulfur dissolve and mixing oxygen to become acid. Now, what do we do to care? Firstly, damage caused by acid rain. What are the damages that are being caused? That is, the forest and soil has been destroyed. Aquatic ecosystem gets destroyed. Then material building statues are also get destroyed because it is acid, and acid destroys the building material. Then air visibility, smog. Smog is also the result of the acidic nature in the environment or atmosphere. Acidic nature of the air in the atmosphere. And human health, that is, human beings are more prone to heart and lung disorder just because of the acid rain. So you can see in the pictures how much bad effect that acid rain has. The forest get destroyed. You can see the leaf, the color of leaf changes. You can see the monument is being destroyed by the acid rain. So we have to control and work together to reduce this environmental issue. Now, what is its solution? Burn less high sulfur coal. And second, develop alternative energies. Then only we can control the problem of acid rain. Now, next environmental problem is human population. Human population, as the population is growing, they need more land to make them reside. So this population will do ultimately affect the environment. You can see in this graph that which part of the world have the highest rate of population growth. You can see in Asia, you can ultimately judge the rate of population increasing at an alarming rate. And how many people in Earth can support it before it reaches its carrying capacity? Earth has a carrying capacity. If that limit crosses, then it will be difficult for Earth to get survive for the future generations. Then population density per square meter. You can see in this diagram, the yellow part shows that the population density is between 0 to 9. The lighter green part shows 10 to 24 population density in these regions. Then darker green is 25 to 49. Blue part is 50 to 74. Light purple is 75 to 99. Then again, lighter shade is 100 to 49. Then you will see 300 to 99. And the darker purple shows the 1000 plus. So mostly the Asian countries are more densely populated as compared to the European and Western countries. Now, skyrocketing world population in last 50 years. What is it? That is, overpopulation has been increasing at a tremendous rate in the past 150 years. Secondly, due to industrial revolution and advancement in medicine, food, and technology is also one of the reasons for overpopulation. People don't want to live in joint families. They want to live in a nuclear family. They want to have their own house. So, in order to set up their own house, more area is needed and more deforestation will take place. So, this is also one of the factors that is affecting the environment. Then, why do we care? Population cannot grow indefinitely. You have to control, you have to take measure, you have to take rules or make rules to stop the population growth. And if there is more population, there will be more pollution and there will be scarcity of resources. People will not able to earn or have their basic requirement needs because it becomes again out against the reach of the people. Now, what to be done to control this problem? We have to educate the people. We have to fight for the poverty. Then we have to follow the model of ZPG, that is zero population growth. That is your birth rate should be equal to your death rate. Every country's birth rate should be matching with the death. If 100 people are born, then 100 people should get died or rest in peace. And then next is family planning activity with China, India, and Kenya. These are the most populated countries in the world. So people need to get aware regarding the ill effects of population growth and how the family planning can play a vital role in calculating the poverty and population. So these are the links that I have mentioned here where you can check the data related to the human population. So I would like to share that there is some public awareness camps that are being organized in past few years. That is, first was in Kanpur, again, Vijendra Sarup Park, which was on 6 to 8 April to educate the people. And both the government and non-government agencies contributed in, and various types of activities are connected like street plays, drawing and painting, quiz competition, poetry competition, display of poster, banner, charts and model, screening of film was there, then groundwater monitoring and vehicular exhaust monitoring was there. So these all were activities that were being done over there. Now, you are familiar with these two faces. These are the people who are playing role in protection their environment. Like Menka Gandhi, she's an Indian politician, an animal right activist and environmentalist who works for the protection of the environment. And Mr. Anil Agarwal, again, is a prominent Indian environmentalist and journalist that works for the environment. And he is the editor Down to the Earth and has been honored with Padam Shri and Padam Vibhushan for his exceptional work to protect the environment. So, our environment is a very sacred thing for us. Today, if we'll use the renewable sources of energy, we will definitely protect our environment and give a sustainable future to our future generations. So use the renewable sources of energy and discard those things that are polluting our environment. I hope you can see this is our nature and nature it is our duty to protect our environment, and we should go green to love our environment and grow more trees so that we could give a good future to our coming generation. Thank you. Hope I am able to make you understand the concept of the environment and the challenges related to our environment and what could be the probable solution to these environmental issues. I hope we follow the 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle to protect our environment. Thank you so much. I hope you are able to understand the concept. Thank you so much.